Hey guys, the Strong Boys 19 here. It is time to answer your questions that some of you guys have sent me. I wish that there's like a couple more questions from you guys, but it is what it is. So let's get on with this Q&A. I don't think it'll be split into two parts. It's going to be a long video, but I'll try my best to answer them as best as I can. So yeah, the first couple of questions are from Cat Moonchild, and before I jump right into her questions, she is one of my favorite people on YouTube. She's just absolutely amazing, great YouTuber. She has been a big fanatic of record collecting, and she loves tons of artists for like David Bowie, Leonard Cohen, Pink Floyd, Simon and Garfunkel, and so many more. So I will leave her link of her channel in the description below. So go and subscribe to her. She just reached 400 subscribers not too long ago as well. So I'm very proud of her for that. If you could hang out with any musician, who would it be? Oh gosh, off to a difficult start. I would say the musician I would like to hang out with is Bob Dylan, because I think he is a very interesting character as a person, and I think he's one of these musicians that can just um, think and say any answer to any question very differently than any other musician. Yeah, I would love to meet Bob Dylan in person. There are many others, but I think Bob Dylan could be the one for me. So yeah. Do you listen to any indie music? I don't listen to a lot of indie music, but I don't mind the genre. I do listen to some indie rock, like Driftless Pony Club, massive fan of them. And I also remember you recommended to me Sharon Van Etten. Thank you so much for that. She's a really good musician and singer-songwriter as well. But yeah, I don't really listen to a lot of that stuff. I will try my best and discover some more indie music. And in honor of Leonard Cohen, when did you start listening to his music? I haven't listened to a lot of Leonard Cohen at the time, uh, but I have decided to listen to an album of his called Songs of Love and Hate, and that is a brilliant album. I mean, Avalanche is at the moment my favorite Leonard Cohen song. I have heard of him occasionally through the radio on some tracks, but haven't really gotten into him, properly. That is just shocking about Leonard Cohen, an extraordinary folk musician, and I'm also interested in checking out his latest stuff as well. Next, couple of questions from Rock and Roll 60. What is your favorite Led Zeppelin album? My favorite Led Zeppelin album is Led Zeppelin 2, besides Led Zeppelin 4, but there's something about 2 that really comes back to me. I just love how raw it sounds, and the sound from the guitar tone and the songs themselves. I think it's just a legendary guitar album as well as many others. So I think Led Zeppelin 2 is the best one they've ever done. If you have a Led Zeppelin collection, I would love to see it. Sadly, I do not have a big Led Zeppelin collection. I mean, I love the band, but they're not one of my top favorite, bands of all time. Not in the top five, but I still have a couple of their albums on CD. Not so much on vinyl yet, but I am still interested in buying their stuff on CD and on vinyl. I'm not so sure about In Through the Outdoor though, because I've heard and seen that that album wasn't well received. But I'll give it a chance. what are some of your favorite albums of all time? Okay, I will be doing a list of my top 25 albums of all time, and I will say the honorable mentions as well. Um, but in terms of like my whole list of my all-time favorite albums, it's really, really quite huge. It's about close to 200 albums, so I'll have to make some separate videos of my entire list of favorite albums of all time, and I would also do my top 25, as I said. Um, I love your channel. Keep it up. Cheers. Thank you so much, and thank you for subscribing as well. Do you listen to Ministry? And if so, what's your favorite album by them? Two questions from Greedy Selfish 97. The first question, I unfortunately don't listen to Ministry. I'm not saying they are a bad band, but I haven't gone around to listen to them, a lot, and I haven't got a favorite album by them. So I'll listen to them properly when I feel like it. Any hip hop artists you like slash listen to? I pretty much like hip hop from the 80s and the 90s, like some Eminem from his albums of Slim Shady LP, Marshall Mathers LP, and the Eminem Show, Public Enemy, and Dr. Dre with The Chronic, and Cypress Hill with The Debut and Black Sunday, Beastie Boys, License to Ill, and Paul's Boutique. I also love Wu-Tang Clan's debut and Old Dirty Bastard's debut solo album, and Death Grips The Money Store, which is to me the best hip-hop album I've heard in years. Well, it's more of an experimental hip-hop industrial type album, classic album. That pretty much sums up for that question. Fueled by Death asked 6 questions. What are your thoughts on modern metalcore? Because honestly, I think metalcore has really gone downhill nowadays, for the most part anyway. I've never been a big fan of metalcore, but I do support some metalcore bands like Trivium, Killswitch Engage, and Bullet for My Valentine were at a metalcore vibe when they first started. But modern metalcore, I have no interest of listening to a lot of them because, metalcore, it's a good genre, but I don't think of it as one of the best genres of metal music. And I can see what you mean about really going down the hill. I'm not saying that it's crap. I do like it. I don't mind the genre, but it's not my favorite genre of metal music. How do you usually react when your favorite bands change their style? Okay, at first I really was quite that person that doesn't like change, but now that I accept it, I do respect bands that have been changing their styles of music. Well, it depends if I like it or not, from what I think, but not hating on their choices of the change of their music. When I first heard that Korn did The Path of Totality, I really do not like it. I was that mad. And I accept what they did, but I think it's a terrible album. Morbid Angels, Illu Divinium Insanus, that's a terrible album. But, with bands that not changed, but experimented and made their sound more newer and different, like the Beatles and Kraftwerk, so many other bands, I accept it that way when bands change their style. What's the most obscure band you listen to? Obscure. Oh man, there's so many. It just depends from the sound of the music. That is a hard question, so I can't pick one. I can't pick the most obscure band. So that is quite difficult for me to answer. So I apologize for that. Are there any bands you used to really love, but in your opinion have ran out of steam nowadays and you really think they should just quit entirely? Okay, the last part about thinking that they should quit, I think it's quite a bit too negative. the bands I used to like but not really love. Uh, I mean, my music taste was quite unfortunate and random at places. I used to like, oh man, I used to like Fight Star. I used to like Aiden for a bit. Same goes with Papa Roach. If I can think hard enough, if I can think much more better, screw it. I used to like My Chemical Romance, and I know what you're thinking, but it's so hard to answer a question like that because my music taste has changed completely. Have you ever waited a long time, and by that I mean at least more than 3 years, for one of your favorite bands to make another album only for it turn out to be a complete and utter disappointment? And if so, which bands have done this to you? I have always been patient when it comes to bands writing new material, but the bands that have disappointed me on new releases are some of the albums that I have reviewed from my channel a few years back, like Megadeth's Super Collider, Bullet for My Valentine, Temper Temper. There's a bunch. There are a lot of disappointing albums I've reviewed, so you have to check those out. Those reviews will complete that question, more better. How much has your music taste evolved since you first became a YouTuber? That is an interesting question because I used to be a big fanatic of metal because of Slipknot, Trivium, Korn, Bullet for My Valentine, Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, Napalm Death, Fear Factory, Iron Maiden, Slayer, of course, Machine Head, Pantera. But over the years, a few years back, I have decided to listen to many styles like folk, some more rock and roll, blues, some later on experiences of experimental stuff and avant-garde, trying to challenge my listening tastes and appreciate some more styles of music. It has changed a lot since then. I mean, my music taste has changed, I think, since about 2012 or 11 to present day. But when it comes to challenging myself to some more different styles of music, it would be 2014. So yeah, thanks for the questions. And the last three are from Necro Lee. Are you a fan of black metal? Yes, I am a fan of the genre. Big thank you to Count Blagarath for recommending some black metal albums to me back at 2013 or 14. There are some black metal classics that I love. Transylvanian Hunger, Panzerfaust, In the Night Side Eclipse, Dark Medieval Times, Stormblast, the original version. And there are many more black metal classics to come. What is your favorite album of this year by far? I said this before that I have stopped reviewing new releases for each year, so I don't have a favorite album of this year. And I do apologize, but I have lost complete interest. I'm not like the Needle Drop, so yeah. Do you play any other instruments other than guitar? Yes, I do play the drums, a bit of bass and piano, but really I would stick to the acoustic guitar and the electric guitar. I'm pretty much a multi-instrumentalist because I like to expand myself musically, even though I haven't tried that out with other instruments of original music yet, because my songwriting at the moment is on guitar. But I would love to become more inspired by many albums and artists to make something totally unique than just trying to copy and mimic the sound of this band or this artist for the most part. And that is quite hard for me to explain, but I guess many musicians would try and do that for a lot of reasons. So, other than that, that is it. Let's just hope that the next music Q&A will have tons more questions. Thank you guys for watching, and I will keep you guys posted for more videos in the near future.